My lips.
Pardon?
Not them lips. Steady on.
1, 2, 3.
Right, welcome back to Don't Overreact. It's been a while.
It's been a very long while.
Maybe too long.
Never.
But I'm Tyler.
I'm Drea.
And we're back. And we're back.
And we won't ever leave you again.
Never leave again. But we said we'd be back with a little twist, and our twist is here. Kiki, will you tell us
Hi
about
everyone, I'm so proud to be here. I'm Kiki, the founder of Liquid Lipo and ZX10. So I'm the guest expert, believe it or not. The girls have invited me on. I'm so proud to be here. I help women understand their own bodies and develop products to solve them. So tonight I'm going to be asking some real and awkward questions and a little bit of science involved.
Love awkward questions.
As we should.
That's my fave.
Speaking of questions, what one have we got lined up for you?
What is endometriosis?
So endometriosis is a debilitating condition that affects the lining of the womb, and it starts to secrete out into the body. So endometriosis is a women's condition, and it ends up with that tissue being in other organs around the body. So it can be attached to your fallopian tubes, it can be ends up on your bowel, bladder.
It can end up in your brain, can't it?
Yeah.
It's grim.
It also can end up on your diaphragm, and then we were asked before what adenomyosis is, and that's the muscle lining of the womb. That's where that lining doesn't shed and it grows and is an extremely painful condition.
Women have it so difficult. Oh, you men can go fuck yourselves.
Basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just going to be talking a bit about endometriosis today, because Drea's actually trying to get diagnosed with it at the moment.
Yeah, bless my soul. And Kiki's
soul.
already been diagnosed with endometriosis.
I have, yeah.
And
We just
we've
want to
heard some
find
of your
out.
story, and to be quite honest, it sounds pretty painful.
Yeah, so this is brilliant what you're doing, because I wish I'd known when I was younger. The first time I found out I had endometriosis was after an ectopic pregnancy, and I think that's how a lot of people find out. And what an awful thing to go through, like losing a baby, but also finding out you've got quite a debilitating
The
condition
life-changing.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you didn't know anything about, and I'll be honest, not heard of it before. Now there is more awareness thanks to people like you, but that was the first I'd heard of it, and then finding out I had it, I'd already lost a baby, so
It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
and that was where the lining of the womb started growing, because it wasn't leaving normally in like periods. It started growing on my fallopian tubes, and that's how it began.
Is it alright if you just explain what an ectopic pregnancy is? Because
Absolutely. So normally when the egg leaves the ovary, it goes down the fallopian tube, and then obviously when the sperm fertilises the egg, it then stays in your uterus. But somewhere along the line, when your fallopian tube's blocked or you've got endometriosis, the egg doesn't leave the tube and the baby starts to grow in the tube. Now, you can have a positive pregnancy test, but the signs that you need to look out for, because I think it's important to tell people, you get shoulder pain and like a metal taste in your mouth, and you get debilitating pain in that one side, and that was the first that I knew about it, that it was blocked. So I was 14 weeks pregnant, which is quite late
Yeah.
to have an ectopic.
And because they can burst, can't they?
It had burst with me, and I ended up, nearly dying because of the first time. And then unfortunately had a second one only 2 years later.
yeah, and with
that's rough.
ectopic pregnancies, when you have the operation to take the pregnancy out and make sure everything's clean, you have to take the fallopian tube out as well.
Yeah.
Which obviously is...
You've only got 2.
Yeah. It's not an endless supply, is
It's
it?
quite
Yeah.
unlucky. Apparently you can still get pregnant normally with one, but it's quite difficult. And then obviously to have 2. But I think people with endometriosis are more likely because of the lining of the womb being over the fallopian tubes. It means things can't flow properly and things aren't leaving properly, which is more likely. So it's just something to keep an eye out. But imagine it's harder to get pregnant with endometriosis, and then your fallopian tube being damaged is not great.
Yeah, because obviously you've been pregnant as well.
Yeah.
You've given birth. Because I think like there's a misconception with like if you've got endometriosis, if you've got polycystic ovaries, you're infertile.
Yeah,
which is obviously not true.
I agree.
Definitely. So I had my first pregnancy before the two
ectopic
ectopic,
ones, yeah.
so I had a perfectly normal birth. So yeah, I don't know if I got endometriosis. Yeah, I already had it or I got it after. You'll never ever know the answers to that. I think we can all.
I didn't even know you could develop it. I thought you just had it.
Exactly. You can be born with it. It can be genetic, but I didn't really know I had it till I had that first ectopic.
Mm. And that's why it's so aggravating, because the only reason they've seen that endometriosis is because they had to go into the body, not from the symptoms. My mum had an ectopic pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I was prior to the ectopic pregnancy, and they didn't see that on any scans that came up when she was pregnant with me. And then afterwards, she had the ectopic, she had it all surgically removed, and she had a fallopian tube out, and they said, oh, you've got endometriosis. So that's living with however many years of pain that you could have had from endometriosis. And it could have been diagnosed younger, but obviously there isn't enough knowledge in the NHS or any type of medical sector to say this needs to be addressed with younger women, because otherwise it makes it more problematic when they're older.
Yeah, they don't want to sort of diagnose you until you're older, do they?
Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
But the earlier
but
you catch it, the earlier you can get treatment.
Discussed that we had quite heavy periods, clotting that really wasn't normal, and I think that's what people need to be aware of. It's more than just a period with endometriosis. You're shedding this blockage each month that's old blood. So that means things aren't draining properly.
Yeah.
So that's a key thing to look out from a young age, that if things are, you're losing big clots and really, really heavy bleeding and a lot of pain, that's something to really that's not normal.
Yeah, maybe get checked.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. We say that a lot in this podcast.
Yeah,
go get checked.
Go to the doctor.
Of course.
Checked. Yeah.
You've got to go and get anything you're not sure about.
Because worse, even it's just better to be safe than sorry. Even if they tell you, they do the test and they're like, you're just a bit unfortunate. You've got heavy periods.
Yeah. There's a name for that, I know, isn't there?
Wasn't it amenorrhea?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and also that is also a condition where you just have really heavy periods, and it is unfortunate. But at the same time, there are always stuff you can do. I'm not that the doctors are helpful about it, but there is.
Yeah, of course, 100%. Periods are just shit anyway.
Yeah.
They are.
They're all shit, whether you've got endometriosis or not. But there obviously are signs to look out for that aren't normal. If you're getting big fat clots.
Yeah.
Big fat ones.
Severe pain, chronic fatigue. Excessive hormonal rages and things like that.
See, there's reason for it.
You.
I don't have endometriosis. That was my excuse.
PCOS, that's why, babe.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, but we were wondering because obviously your mum has endometriosis and you have very different symptoms.
Oh, it's so aggravating. I was like, Mum, this is really uncomfortable conversation to have with your mother, but we're lucky to be so open. I was like,
Mum, does it hurt when you get penetrated?
I never said that. I was like, does it hurt when you shag? And she said no, and I was like, well, that's bullshit. I went, how do I have that? I was like, that's such wank.
Well, it does if there's adhesions, or I said about the tilted womb. Often people, because they've got adhesions, it can tilt the womb, it can make the womb heavy. If things are attached, things are painful, and that is one big sign.
So with a tilted womb, is it literally just your womb is...
So rather than it being straight, if it's tilted, but that can cause, when you have your menstruation, it not to leave, and then things to grow internally because it can't leave the body.
It's basically...
You don't want a wonky womb, basically.
My cousin's got a wonky womb, but I think she's alright.
It depends what way it wants. That was a lot of W, what way it wants.
Wah. Yeah.
We did say that.
Yeah, it depends
which way
direction it's tilted.
Because I'm pretty...
Which way it wants.
This could be completely incorrect, and I'm not a medical professional, and none of us are medical professionals, don't work for NHS, but she said that her womb tilts backwards. So that means that she's more likely to get pregnant. I don't know if that's just because it stays in easier because it's not going straight out with gravity. But...
if things can't drain, then you...
It's just go find
You're
egg,
sucking
innit?
it up, basically.
I think I'm the other way though, where it's blocked and it doesn't allow anything in.
Yeah. But
wonks in a different way.
Yeah, definitely.
I just think wonky willies.
Oh.
Ben's right.
No, but if you've... Right, okay. If you've got a wonky womb... We need to stop saying that. If you've got a tilted womb...
Just
and they've got... a willy that bends
A
left
wonky
or
willy?
something.
Okay.
Does that like help?
Possibly. So you
That's
need
right.
to be matched up by
Puzzle
Well, match
pieces.
willy.
that could be another game show that you do.
A game show.
Yeah.
Match the
It
wonk
is
to
your
the willy.
wonky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
a new blind date, you know, but not like naked
Do you
attraction
two in the
now.
same way?
I
Yes.
love naked attraction.
There you go.
It's just hysterical. I love it.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not being funny. I know everyone thinks it's crap, but I think it's pretty
It's
funny.
one of them
And
shows
it's
you
got to
just-
be
Shock
ballsy,
factor.
isn't you?
Yeah.
You're
They
ballsy
are
or
very
mentally ill,
ballsy,
yeah.
literally.
Yeah. But
Some
yeah,
of
what's one of our next questions? I got a bit carried away
Moving
with
swiftly
wonky
on
willies.
from, Wonky willies.
What are your endometriosis symptoms?
So, my endometriosis got worse after the first ectopic, and then obviously I had a second one. So by the age of 34, I'd had 13 operations then relating to endometriosis to cut away the adhesions, and mine had spread from my womb right up to my diaphragm. I ended up with a tumour in my throat. So my symptoms were not just painful periods, it was chronic fatigue, really excessive swelling, weight gain, hormonal problems, and the pain looks like going through my whole body. And also it feels like a ripping pain sometimes. So when you move because of the adhesions, or even if you eat something that bloats you a little bit, it's excessively in pain. We were talking about like distended tummies before, and it was rock solid like a football.
Yeah.
And you just could not get rid of it due to inflammation.
So when like with endometriosis, like obviously like we were talking the other day, like there's stages. Like if you don't mind me asking, like do you know like stage?
So I'm stage 4, so it's really severe, and it's because it's right the way through my diaphragm and stuff. It's something I'll always have to live with.
Yeah.
And I think it's really difficult because there isn't much help or support. There's massive misconception, and you're often just given painkillers. And you know, I've had so many surgeries, I've got to have more, but there's not really a cure for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's got to be. I don't want to scare anyone or upset anyone, but I see people time and time again in the endometriosis support groups who are just living every day in pain, and it's not nice.
Yeah. No, it's not how. Yeah. It's not how it should be.
No. I think that when it comes to endometriosis, obviously the people that have endometriosis in their brain, I don't even know how they're living right now, because I can't imagine how painful that is, and I only feel like I may even have it in genuinely where my womb is. But there's the thing with endometriosis that when it spreads, like you can't even taking your womb out doesn't necessarily help, which is hysterectomy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's utter bullshit that your body's programmed that the thing that causes it, which is mostly the womb and the hormones, which is now taken out, is still in there.
Yeah, that's something I've learnt new this week. Like, it's constantly learning and evolving. There's a link between lupus, which is an autoimmune condition, and it can really affect your lungs, your breathing. Your whole body is sort of fighting against this inflammation, which starts with a hormonal imbalance, but ends up giving you this debilitating condition where your body's attacking itself.
So with lupus, is it something you develop, or is it something you're sort of born with?
I think I've got lupus from the endometriosis.
Really?
In my opinion. I don't feel like it's something I had before. If so, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But now all of those, you know, like me being ill, kidney
Very
problems,
interlinked, yeah.
I do feel it's interlinked, and they've just published a study linking that, and actually lupus is 90% of people with lupus are women. So straight away that says to me that it's something to do with hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hormones are in everything.
Yeah.
Like literally, we were saying this earlier. Like you
Yeah.
can't even have like a cup of tea without putting hormones in your
Oh,
milk.
such
Like
awful.
you can't have soy milk anymore.
Oh no, I'm so aggravated. I love chocolate
There's
milk.
chocolate out pro soy milk. Beautiful.
No, honestly, if you guys haven't tried that and you don't have hormone problems,
We're not
try
sponsored,
it.
just
no,
try it.
not sponsored. I still think it's stupid that it's got hormones in it. But I used to drink all the time, and then when I turned 16, they were like, "Oh, it's got estrogen in it, and if you've got endometriosis, that's an overproduction of estrogen, so don't drink it because then you're just adding to a full glass." And yeah, no, I don't drink it
But we
anymore.
didn't know, did we? None of us knew. Like, me knowing the science, it was only when you start looking at the receptors for estrogen in the body that things like plastic, genetically modified food are allowing more estrogen to go into the body. But I don't think that's not a myth, or it's
No,
something that's out there.
it's actually annoying.
we're deciding what do we avoid, what do we do, how do we live our life.
And then it's like, where does it end? Like, what else do we limit? Like, if you can't...
Roll.
Sorry, our camera lady has just knocked herself
Bashed
out.
her head.
She's knocked
You've been
out
sat
on
there
the
for
floor.
however long and you bashed
She's
her
done it
now.
about 4 times. I promise.
That one was just loud.
How stupid are you?
Sorry, carry on.
Okay.
No, what was he saying? Because, like, obviously there's so many, like, different diets for, like, polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, but it's like...
Doesn't
do
necessarily
they help? Like, is there like a stigma around it that you've got to do a diet and like?
I think trying to be as clean as possible is the best thing that you can do. Home cooked food, you know, not a set diet, but just trying to eat as clean as possible without, you know, synthetic stuff. And sugar has a massive effect on it. But then, let's be honest, we're tired and in pain and grumpy, so we need
Some
Maybe we
chocolate
just want a
every now and again.
Yeah, full disclosure, we're going for a takeaway after this.
But I think you can make things worse, but there is no cure no matter what you do. So, you know, I went gluten-free, and then apparently some of the things, because they're synthetically made, was detrimental anyway and caused more inflammation. So,
Can't win.
you know, like seed oils and things like that, they can cause inflammation. And then if you go dairy-free, because you thought dairy would have estrogen in, then you just don't know where to. So if people have been advised on certain things, then follow them. But if you're not seeing a difference...
Plus, if I hear diet, I automatically get stressed.
Same.
I'm like, well, now I've got to be very strict, and now I'm like under pressure.
Yeah.
I think everyone just needs to home cook a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, just natural stuff, meat, veg, a little bit of carbs, just that
Meat and
in
veg.
itself.
At least you know what's going into it. What did you say?
Meat and veg. Bless your soul.
I don't know, that was straight over my head.
It's anatomised to a body part.
No, you've lost me.
She's really smart, common sense, nothing.
She'll watch it.
She'll watch back and go, and she'll type it into Google and then she'll go, ah.
Exactly like that.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, be careful what you Google.
Yeah, don't Google it. Don't Google it. But anyway, back
Well, I
on
kind
topic.
of want to, like, I know this is like weird, but like, I kind of want to see what the adhesions look like
Oh my
in
god, I thought you were saying meat
endometriosis.
and veg. Oh god,
No,
really
so-
scared.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen my adhesions afterwards, and we were talking about like when things are really bad, you're actually shedding bits of tissue, and like they're called chocolate cysts, big black horrible lumps, and that's what we're dealing with as women. But all of that, losing that stuff when it's your period each month is completely not normal. That stuff that's storing and not shedding to do with estrogen dominance, so it's horrible. But basically it looks like violin strings.
That's correct. That is not what I pictured. Not that I picture it a lot, but
Yeah.
that is really weird to think about.
Yeah.
I need a drink.
Yeah,
That's better.
but so,
Sounds about like that.
so like obviously like we're saying like the pain is just like truly awful. But like is there like what did you use to like cope with it? Like obviously through the years.
I was addicted to painkillers. This is an open and honest show. There was no solution, so you're given more and more painkillers to take, which
Different
can
ones, stronger
only
ones.
result in an addiction. Because when you come off them, you're in more pain. So I'd
Rely on
had
it.
like 12 operations at this point. But
Yeah.
in 2016, you know, I wanted to take my own life because the pain was that bad, and I was addicted to painkillers, and there was no end for me. That's what endometriosis can really make people feel like. So I'm positive now and making awareness, but I honestly, if anyone's like lying there in bed now in pain, like we're here to listen, we're here to support. We're not medical professionals,
There's
we're
such a
people
stigma.
experiencing this.
It really like I don't think like obviously not everyone, but I don't think a lot of people realise like how much like reproductive health will affect your mental health. Like it goes hand in hand. Yeah.
Of course.
Of course it is.
Like it
You
affects
feel
your
like you're
everyday
going
life.
insane. You feel like, because it's not a seen illness, you haven't lost your leg. You'll feel
can't
like
see
it's
it,
in
so-
your head.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, obviously there is a bit more awareness now, but I didn't feel heard.
Yeah.
Oh, bless.
Sorry, I was just not
Do
coming
a big
out.
one.
Okay, for that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it out?
Yeah, it's fucking out.
Lovely.
Sorry, guys. Fuck's sake.
We nearly lost another person on the podcast.
Right. But also, considering mental health, obviously, the pain is sometimes
It's
unbearable.
enough physical pain anyway.
Enough. And then you add on top the fact that you can lose children through ectopic pregnancy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's debilitating. I know that people go to counselling for having abortions because it benefits their life, but obviously it makes them feel shit. But imagine losing a child and it's not even your own will.
I think it's hard, and we discussed it briefly before, you know, when you have fallopian tubes you put on a gynae ward or a maternity ward, you're losing a baby, but you're hearing other people have children as well, and
that is, yeah.
Even
I've lost both fallopian tubes and biologically can't have children naturally. The first thing when you go to the hospital, if they ask you, is could you possibly be pregnant every single
time. It's like you
time.
actually just want to laugh at it. Cause you're like, the world just hates women. I said this earlier and I truly mean
hard.
it.
Just, there are two things I'd like to be changed. Is one, I know you can't always read people's notes, but you can't biologically get pregnant. There's no way. Don't ask that question.
Yeah.
And when people lose babies, please just check your admin on inviting them in for a scan, because that is devastating for so many women.
Awful,
to have a scan date after you've lost a baby is not a nice experience. So they're two things, if it could be changed, would make things just that much easier for women.
Yeah. Well, I saw this, I'm catching up on EastEnders at the moment. I am going to bring it in. I am. But there's a storyline, I don't know if you watch EastEnders, there's this woman on it, Whitney, and she had a miscarriage like in the past, she just got pregnant again. She went for a scan and her baby's organs have grown on the outside of its body. I think the name Omphalicil. Omphalicil, I think is what it's called. But like obviously she had a breakdown like on the show and stuff, and she was just going like, oh, like, why does my body not work like the way it's supposed to? And it's just like so sad, because I feel like not enough women like openly talk about like their experiences. Like there's nothing wrong with you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I don't know how to say it, but it's like
basically their bodies are biologically programmed for such a thing, and then suddenly their bodies have decided no. Well, not technically their bodies, it's just the genetics, but they don't see it like that, because when you lose your child, or when your child has a chromosomal what is it called, defect, or you know what I mean? Yeah. You instantly blame yourself, because you're the one carrying that child. It's not like they hatched from an egg. Like, they are in your body, you're developing them, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
I think, as we said, we don't know if you're born with it or it happens in the womb, or the same with chromosomes. Everything's DNA, so it's already sort of pre-ordained, if you like. So with what's happening with that storyline and what's happened in our past and history, you can't change it. It was already meant to happen like that. But why is it happening? You know, and
that's where the problem is.
It's only through having this conversation that even if one person listens to it and feels how we feel, or they could even be so down with their mental health they feel like there's no point going on anymore, but listening to us chatting, laughing and putting a funny spin on things that are really difficult to talk about, they know they're not alone. And
because you never sort of know how to word it, but it's like, just say it. Like, say exactly what you're thinking about it. Of course. Open up the conversation. Yeah. Because listen, got to start somewhere. Like,
I think that it's very convenient and very interesting for us to have a mother on the show, because we haven't gone through motherhood yet. No. And it's a lot easier for us to have you on the show than to be like, oh, like it must be really difficult to have an ectopic pregnancy or to be a mother. Because we don't know.
Yeah, it is difficult, and I hope it's something that either of you ever experience. Yeah. I'm so grateful though that I have had children, because I know that women are out there and they haven't even got to that stage. Was it worse having a child and then losing two more? Or would it have been worse never having a child at all? I don't know the answer to that. It was devastating either way. But I feel like, you know, maybe my purpose is to educate others and help and support them, and had I not gone through that I wouldn't be having these conversations, so you have to look at the positive.
Literally. Well, I've only met you a couple of times now, and I've literally I feel like I've learnt quite a lot, because I feel like the way you speak about things is not in a you know when some people just shut off when it comes to talk about women's health, they just do, but you talk about it in a very personal way, like you've experienced these things firsthand, like you know what you're talking about, like, and it's like people want to listen because
you're just sharing your story.
Yeah.
That's all that you're doing though as well,
Yeah.
and that's why you started this. But if more women share their stories and experiences, we might end up getting a cure or a solution or just better support, because we're all feeling the same, aren't we? There isn't any.
if anything, just some support for women. Please.
Yeah,
That's what we
definitely.
want.
Yeah.
Not that hard to please.
You've obviously had a lot of pain in your life, but what was pregnancy like? Because obviously, I would assume that if you had a lot of pain during not being pregnant, then pregnancy must be really difficult.
No, I was okay during pregnancy.
That's why the human body's so fucked up.
Yeah,
Crazy.
so pregnancy was really good for me. I was like 14, 16 days late, you know, but that's
Hormones.
just, yeah. So things, you know, I ended up going back into surgery and all stuff after having the baby. So it was difficult more after, but during pregnancy I was good. I was a joy, maybe because the hormones are a bit more regulated than normal.
So if or when I'm pregnant, I am so scared I'm just going to be a raging bitch.
It regulated me out though, and that is
This
the
is
funny
what I
thing
mean,
about
because I'm
hormone
so irregular.
regulation. Yeah.
In your mood swings, you're a
My
raging
mood
bitch.
swings.
But I don't. Maybe you'll go the other way and just be like happy hormone.
Or I'll just get so much worse.
No, I don't want to think about it. I really don't.
Yeah. Good luck.
No, good luck to the person that you're shagging. Bless his soul. Oh.
Yeah.
Joke again. But yeah, I think we
That
should
is
get on
crazy
to.
though.
Yeah, it is. I think we should get on to the how do you cope with all the shit, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't, you know, but I like helping people. So I always say this, it's such a cliche, but I turn my pain into power, and that's what women do. We're given the worst case scenario. We
We ain't got no choice. We've got to do something with it.
Yeah,
but supporting women with endometriosis with a topical pain relief that I've made, educating people in a way that isn't just boring them with science, but I'm giving them a real life experience with the scientific.
Yeah. And so when you say your pain relief that you've developed, so what's it called?
ZX10. So it's a
With a little bottle down there.
it's a topical thermogenic balm. So we've just discussed I was addicted to painkillers. So I had to come off them because it would have either been Oromorph or heroin, because that is the same mechanism of action in the body as what codeine is.
Yeah.
You can't take any more tablets. What's the next step? So I decided enough was enough. And it was a killer coming off them. Like, you have to taper off them. And you're shivering. You are like a drug addict. You're sweating. You've got cramps. It's horrendous. But it took 2 years to make the ZX10, but it's made from CBD, Nigella sativa, curcumin, saffron, and then vitamin E. So those 5 natural ingredients on their own, you can use them for inflammation.
So how did you get to them 5? Like, because I wouldn't even know where to start with making
So
it
all of those, if you look on the research, just even if you type them in, there's already research to say that they help with inflammation.
Right.
So putting them together, I thought it's going to be like a super powerful inflammation. Now, that didn't really work, like loads. Nothing's ever as easy as it sounds. But for me, I knew I had to make this to help others. And addiction's such a massive thing. People are just given painkillers to go away and shut up. Or they're waiting for operations like you guys are. You know, you're waiting, but you're still in pain, and there's no answer to that. So this is topically applied, and it travels to the point of pain and stops the inflammation, and then your own body stops secreting cortisol, and then the nociceptive pain is disrupted, and your own body can start repairing it. So 500 people, 52% stopped pain medication orally by day 3.
That is
which
mad.
is huge. We've helped over 4,000 people free, and that's what we'll continue to do and continue to help them.
That is
Yeah, because
that is mad.
Feminax has been my only
Feminax
currently.
Yeah, so Endometriosis UK, the group, now has ZX10 pinned on their header because they've seen. So there is no way, if I didn't go through everything that I've been through, I would have made a topical pain relief.
But that's the fact that you've gone through all of that, and then instead of going down that dark path and staying there, you've come out the other side and you thought, no, I don't want anyone else to go through this.
Of
I'm
course,
going to do something.
I think
now there will be people exactly where I am, addicted to painkillers, taking more and more, maybe
100%.
looking for street options because there isn't any help and they don't. There is other ways. There is other natural alternatives. Now, I'm not endorsing stopping your painkillers or anything, but if you can have a topical solution that's actually reducing the inflammation, give it a go.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You tried it, haven't you?
I did. It was grand. I think I had ovulation pain, I believe. So it's not as my I believe. My ovulation pain isn't as bad as my period pain, but it's like not great. So I put it on, and I was like sitting just on my sofa. I'm pretty sure I was watching Harry Potter, and I was like, because I knew it heated. Is that a word? Heated.
yeah.
Warmed. Yeah, no. Warmed. It warmed up. I don't know why, but the dictionary really failed me that one. And I was like, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, this feels like, you know what peppermint oil feels like?
Yeah.
Because I used to use that when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it feels like peppermint oil. So that is the
feeling.
It does, it heats up a lot at the start. You only need a little bit and you don't need to rub it.
Yeah, because my mum said she used it once.
Yeah.
She put a little bit too much on and she was like,
don't get it on any intimate areas, just, wash your hands after. But I put it on the top of my legs and it travels right to the bottom of my ankle, so it really travels to the point of pain.
So like when it comes to applying it, like do you just put like a little thin layer on?
Thin layer on and then you don't rub it, we've helped with earache, like sinus
so
blocks.
It's not just like endometriosis, period pain.
Any inflammation.
Yeah, that's unreal. Like my mum had a bad shoulder, I used it on that. Within 10 minutes she was like, I can move. This is great.
Helping people dance again.
Sorry guys, I've got a cold.
Free play.
I hope you suffer with that comment. Come on. Anyway, I feel better now. You've just coughed my cough out for me. No, yeah. ZX10, I did try it. It felt like peppermint oil. And it was great. Within about 20 minutes it had gone. So that was great. Because I thought to myself, when I get ovulation pain, it's like, I feel like a bit of a pussy. Because it's like, it's not period pain.
Yeah.
But
it is inflammation though, and it's something's triggering in the body. Like on that hormone response we were talking about earlier. On that cycle, that ovulation is one more hormone secreting.
You text me when you had it on, you was like, I just feel tingly, this is great.
Yeah,
tingly.
When you're on drugs, when you've come out of an operation
and you're on the drugs.
Yeah, when you're on the drugs and you're like, oh, this feels great, but you just got sort of spaced out. I mean, at the time when I'm in pain, I always feel really spaced out because I'm just like
you can't really focus.
Yeah. So that's how I felt. I was like, I'm just on the drugs. I love it, and it's not even drugs.
Topical. Yeah.
I'm going for an operation, and my mum went, just look forward to the drugs. I went, what do you think I'm looking forward to? Don't care about diagnosis.
Every time I was like nervous about my operation that I ended up having, that was in English, you know what I mean? Every time Dre was like, just look forward to the drugs.
Mum went, morphine's great. Morphine is great.
That's codeine's morphine, and that's exactly why it's not great taking it in large amounts.
No, preferably.
No, just after an operation.
Yeah, just that one. If they're offering it to you because they think you're going to be in serious pain afterwards, take it. If you don't need it, don't take it.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So when you said you had like, obviously all your like procedures, were they all like the same kind of procedures? Like you go in, you basically get the adhesions like...
Are they all laparoscopies?
Some of it was open surgery, so the problem is the first couple were emergency surgery, so ectopics, that's where it first started. Then it was elective surgery to remove adhesions. Then I had a tumour in my throat, which was a massive big lump, which we now think is connected to all of this, because the body's producing adhesions, but at the time we didn't know if it was cancer, we didn't know what was going on.
That's scary.
Just opened my mouth one day and had this massive lump, and I was like, don't think that's supposed to be there. Let's get it checked.
Yeah.
So then all of that got cut away. Then I had to have my tonsils removed, and then I just kept having more and more surgery. But now I feel like there's just not, it's not as taken seriously. I know that's, so when it was an emergency and when it was things that was blocking my throat, I was rushed straight in and things were done, you know, within months. This last operation, which is to cut away loads of adhesions, my kidney's got a massive stone, and it's all connected from the top of my legs to a diaphragm. It's very much like we're just going to leave it, which I don't understand now. And again, you've had operations cancelled and things. It's sort of like
just
now,
because it's not urgent life or death doesn't mean it's not changing the way I'm living.
I feel like now it's because I've had so many operations, I can just, like, I'm just expected to get on with it. And I know a lady who's had 37 operations.
Pardon?
Yeah.
She's got brain damage now because she's, I'm sure she's 47, 48.
And she's got brain damage because
they've
they've left.
mums.
No.
That is insane.
Yeah, she is a good friend of mine. She's had the most operations for endometriosis. Hers is like stage 5.
I don't even know that was
I was
stage
going to say, I
5.
didn't even know there was one.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
When it
insane.
spreads.
To your brain, yeah. So
She's
she's got
got it.
neurological problems she can't stand. But this is something that people say you can just get on with endometriosis.
But it's like the more they leave you to get on with it, just because it's stage 1 doesn't mean, 1, it's not awful at stage 1 anyway, and 2, it will develop. Like, the
I
longer
think
you leave things.
the earlier something can be implemented, there's a treatment plan and you know what's happening.
It's about prevention rather than cure, isn't it? Like, the earlier you step in, the easier it is to treat. Like, but they don't seem to get that. And just,
No.
Yeah, well, we don't know if endometriosis affects your lymphatic system because a lot of people struggle to lose weight. The scar tissue affects the lymphatic drainage. Then that affects your circulatory system, which means, you know, you have blood flow problems, then heart problems. So this is actually quite a serious condition that can have life-changing effects.
Yeah. And that is why I need to get checked now.
Yeah.
Now
honestly.
or in the last 6 months.
And I know it's hard to get doctor's appointments at the moment. Anyone
For
in the UK
nonsense.
will know. But just start, like, the sooner you start, like, if you suspect anything, like, yeah, definitely.
Go now, but at that point.
Because like we say, I think we've mentioned this in every episode, I didn't know my periods were weird or, like, not normal until yours got checked, and obviously you then realised that you had some problems going on.
So that's at least 2 in 10, isn't it? 2 different conditions.
Yeah.
Add in adenomyosis, there's 3 in 10. Add in people going through the menopause. Probably nearly half. I feel like everyone I meet has something.
Has something, yeah. We all just find each other, I don't know.
We connect
There's
on
like,
a soul basis.
Yeah, so there's like a group of 5 of us, at least 4 of us have issues.
Yeah, I'm not being
like
funny.
Reproductive issues.
1, 2, 3.
And we've been friends
the
since we
little
were like
one,
12.
and then the really little one's fine.
Well. But she doesn't get, oh my god, she doesn't get cramps. She
Just
bleeds
3
lightly
periods.
for 3 days. I'm like, you're just...
A whore. You won't gonna say it, but I will.
I was trying to think of the right word.
A whore. I hate her.
No, she's like honestly so lucky, but yeah, no, it's crazy, basically.
For real.
Is the conclusion to that one.
What a bitch.
But if you like sort of had any advice for us, just to sort of like open up the conversation on reproductive health, like what would you say?
I think speak to your friends is really important, and I think, do you know what, we live in such a fake world where everything seems perfect, but we've just had, like, there's 4 of us out of 4 in this room that are suffering with things. Now I know that we're doing a podcast called Don't Ovary Act, so we're going to have problems, but we found out it's so common, and educating men on it, I think it needs to be taught in schools. Just speak your truth, because you never know who's listening.
Exactly. That's what we say, like we haven't got a lot of viewers, we haven't got a lot of followers, but even if we just connect with one person, like that is
real.
I think you're about to get a lot more.
Gone viral.
Everyone come listen to us because we're just experts and excellent at what we do.
Mm-hmm. No, we like fake it till you make it.
I so agree.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Actually.
thank you for having me on the
Thank you for coming. I would literally do another one.
Yeah, we should. Maybe we should do a follow-up.
Yeah.
See where we are in 3 months.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Alright.
How do we usually end this? Bye.
See you next time. Do you remember I do that every time?
Fingers.
I do that every time.
1, 2, 3.